Hello everyone, welcome back to iExamB, and we are on day number 22 in this series for RBI DEPR Phase 1 examination. This is the 50 days 50 questions series where I bring different questions from different topics and prepare you for the exam, make you exam ready. So if you haven't watched my previous videos, I would suggest please go back and watch them and then continue watching this video so that you can clear different concepts in a very short period of time. So the question for day 22 here on my screen is that for a perfectly competitive industry, the marginal cost of producing good X is rupees 10 and that for a monopoly firm is rupees 12. The demand function for the firm is Q equals to 1000 minus 50 and you have to calculate the difference in the consumer surplus for the perfectly competitive industry and the monopoly firm. This is what you need to find out. So here, what do you do? See, what is given to you? Marginal cost for perfectly competitive industry is 10. For a monopoly is 12. This is given to us and we are given the demand function. Q equals to 1000 minus 50p. And you have to find out what is the difference in consumer surplus in between these two markets. If you know how to solve such questions, pause this video, solve it, get your answer and mark it and then proceed and watch this video till the end. So see, how are we going to solve such questions? So first we will solve what is the consumer surplus for the firm in a perfectly competitive industry. Then we will see what happens to how much is the consumer surplus for the monopolist firm, and then we will see the difference between these. So first let's figure out what is it for the perfectly competitive industry for this one. Okay, so the demand is Q equals to 1000 minus 50p. We can first plot the demand curve here. So if price is 0, we know quantity would be 1000. This would be cutting it here, right? And if quantity is 0, what would be the price? 1000 divided by 50, which is 20. Right? Now, so this is joining these 2 points, I'll get my demand curve. Now we know that what is the profit maximizing condition in case of perfectly competitive industry. Its price should be equal to the marginal cost. Okay, so for price to be equal to the marginal cost, we have what do you have here? What is price? Price, I can write this in the form of inverse demand function as 1000 minus Q divided by 50, which is 20 minus Q by 50. This is my price, right? So for profit maximization, I'm going to equate this with the marginal cost, which is 20. So I have 20 minus Q by 50, which is equal to 10. So this is going to be 10, which is equal to Q upon 50. So I have Q to be equal to 500, right? So where this marginal cost line, okay, marginal cost to be equal to 10, this is intersecting my price or the demand function here at what quantity, where quantity is 500, right? Now from the definition of consumer surplus, what do I know? Consumer surplus is the area below the demand curve and above the price line. So this is the area, right? This is consumer surplus. Why is this consumer surplus? Because what does different points of the demand curve tells me? Different points of the demand curve tells me what is the maximum value that the buyers are putting on these different units of the quantity, right? And this much is the price that they are paying in order to buy these different units. So what would be their surplus value? Their valuation minus how much they are actually paying. So this difference is given by consumer surplus. Now if I have to calculate this difference, what is it? This is a triangle. So area of triangle is half into base into height. So I have half. What is my base distance? 0 to 500. So this is 500 into height. Height is what? 20 minus 10. This is going to give me my consumer surplus. So I have half into 500 into 10, right? So this will be what? How much? 5000 divided by 2, which is 2500. So this is my consumer surplus in case of perfect competition. Now let's see what happens under monopoly. Okay, so under monopoly, what is the profit maximization condition? It is marginal revenue to be equal to marginal cost. This is my profit maximization condition. I have the marginal cost. Now I need to know what is going to be my marginal revenue. So what would be total revenue? Total revenue is price times quantity. What is price? 20 minus Q by 50. This is my price times quantity. So I have total revenue to be equal to 20Q minus Q square upon 50. Right? Now marginal revenue is going to be 20 minus 2Q by 50. Right? So this is going to be 20 minus Q upon 25. Now I have to equate this marginal revenue with the marginal cost in order to get the profit maximizing quantity, right? So I can write this as 20 minus Q upon 25. Here marginal cost is 12. So this is going to be 20 minus 12, which is 8, equals to Q upon 25. This implies that Q is equal to 25 into 8, right? So 25 into 8, I have 200. This is my quantity, right? So what does this mean? That, so let's say this is my demand curve, right? And this is my marginal revenue curve. So let's say this is the marginal revenue curve in the same diagram I'm drawing. Okay, and the marginal cost is 12, which is, let's say, somewhere this line. Okay, so MR and MC are intersecting at what point? At quantity 200, right? So this is, if I show you separately, this is the marginal cost line 12. This is the point where the quantity is 200, where the marginal revenue and the marginal cost are equal, right? Now, what is the price at this particular quantity? Okay, so let's find out what would be the price. So 20 minus Q is how much? 200 divided by 50, which is going to be, this cancels out, this is going to be 4. So 20 minus 4, price is going to be 16, right? So at this quantity, what is the price? 16. Okay, so as I told you, from the definition of consumer surplus, you know what is consumer surplus? It's the area below the demand curve and above the price line. So this is going to be my consumer surplus in case of a monopolist. So what is the consumer surplus? If you have to calculate this, what is it going to be? Again, use the same formula, half times base into height. Base is how much here now? 200 into height. Height would be how much? This point, this is 20, right? You know, the y-intercept. So 20 minus 16, which is 4. Okay, so this cancels each other out. This is going to be 2. So the consumer surplus here is 400 in this case, right? In case of a monopolist. Now, what do you have to find out? Actually, you have to find the difference in consumer surplus. So for difference, you have to take the difference here. So 2500 minus 400, which is 2100. This is my consumer surplus, the difference in consumer surplus. The right answer here is option Z. I hope you've understood this question. This looks a little tricky at the beginning, but when you start solving, it's very, very easy. Just apply the concepts of profit maximization and you will be thorough. So the right answer is 2100. Okay. Now, also we have attached a link for you to attempt the memory-based paper for last year in the description of this video. Please do have a look at that, and you can also get the PDF of those questions in the description of the video as well. And we have several other resources for you to prepare. You can attempt the mock test on our website. You can also watch this playlist for additional concepts in order to prepare 50% faster. If you have any other queries, you can anytime call us here. Thank you. Keep preparing.